Why am I grinning like the village idiot? Can any of you guess? Well, I'm a food addict, so it might have something to do with food, right? Anyway, my name is Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food with Keto, and today it's under 15. I'm excited. Anyway, why am I grinning? Because it's Fat Head Pizza Night. That's why. And I always get so excited. And I just do it simple. It's with almond flour, cream cheese, eggs. I put oregano into the almond flour and mozzarella. I use one ball, 8 ounces. And then for the topping, it's 8 ounces usually of a Cabot cheese. It's going to be half habanero pepper and hot pepper, and then another one, maybe Monterey Jack, 8 ounces of that, and then covered with pepperoni. And that's as simple as I keep it. And as soon as Greg and I are done feasting on the Fathead pizza, I tear off all the topping that's left, throw away the crust part, and use that in my scrambled eggs the next day. Pfft, how good does that get? Then there's no leftover pizza, because I'm a food addict. And when I think food addiction, I think, wow, if I had Fathead pizza every single day, I'd be happy, and my carbs would be under 20. That's how my addict thinks. No, we're not going to do that. We have it once every couple of weeks. It's a treat. That's a wrap. And there you have it. I'm the keto champ, still under 20 today. Thank you, Joyce, Miss Joyce. And so, sometimes the obvious is so obvious and simple that we can't see it. Sometimes our food goes so off the beaten path of keto under 20 that it's not our metabolism yelling out to us, although sometimes you're lucky if you have a digestive issue, because that might get you there faster. But sometimes it's so obvious that we just need to reboot. We just need to stop. We need to remember what worked. If you have a tracker, you can go back a month, 2 weeks, 3 weeks ago and see what worked for you with keto under 20. Maybe you have a journal where you put out your menus in it every day. You can flip back those few pages and see what worked and plug back into it. It would be harder for me to go back to Weight Watchers without the fat than it would be for me to go from a standard American diet back to keto having the fat. Especially if I'm resurrendering, where I need to get fat adapted all over again. I would need to not worry about the fat that I'm having. I would have ample amounts to avoid any keto flu, because that's a reality. Yeah, sometimes you got a little bitter with the better. And so I would have ample fat, ample sodium, magnesium, and potassium. Meaning if it's just as simple as dropping a bouillon cube into some boiling water, or I would do bone broth, or I would buy organic, those cartons you can buy in the store of bone broth, Pacifica or Pacific makes it. I would do whatever I had to do to get back to being fat adapted without as much distress to my head or my body. And so remember, just, if you've been out, you've been non-keto, your metabolism is just all skewy, your head is all skewy. Even the hamster says, come on, come back to keto, please, Mom. So do it. Just do it. You don't ease back into keto as far as I'm concerned. If you've been keto and had some success, then getting back into the swing of things is as simple as just doing it. And I don't mean to trivialize it. All I mean is finding the menus that worked for you before, or going back and watching people's podcasts that talk about beginning keto, what you might need to do, and just applying yourself. Yeah, there's going to be a sugar and carb withdrawal. What can I tell you? That's why alcoholics have hangovers, because they're coming off of the thing that medicated them, and for us it's food. And so you need to get back on track. And that's why I say have ample amounts of food. Going back to the basics. have 2, 3, 4 scrambled eggs with some bacon. If you're able to tolerate dairy, put a couple of slabs of cheese on that. That's one meal. What's your second meal going to be? It's going to be like a 4 to 6 ounce portion of fish or chicken or pork or beef with a big A salad with ample olive oil on it. It's as simple as that. And the fat should satiate you, even if your head is jonesing for the carbs, the sugar, the fruits, all that CRAP, the standard American diet garbage that you've been used to while you've been out there. There's going to be a little pain. There's going to be withdrawal. There's going to be a head withdrawal. There's going to be a tummy withdrawal. There might be the keto flu, but you are armed and dangerous, and you can figure out what you need to do. Go back to the basics. That's why I say sometimes it's so simple and obvious. We sometimes might miss that. And so, you don't, it's like, I don't know, for me, I've always had the Band-Aid approach. Rip it off. The pain is over in a second or two and moving on. Versus the I wouldn't suggest easing back in to keto, allowing carbs, and doing something like that, unless the carbs are veggies. So if you are coming back, your head is all messed up, your body's all messed up, have ample amounts of carbs in the form of veggies. Have 75, have 100, but not in the form of a candy bar with a wig on it, or a shake, or any of those bars, carbagey, ketofied, ketovenience foods. I'm talking about having, a green leafy salad, maybe twice, maybe having 2 type of chopped meat cob-like salads each meal, having 3 meals if you can't make it, otherwise having a couple of fatty coffees, having a couple of bulletproof coffees with 2 substantial meals with a few hours in between. It's going to take a few days, but that's okay. Expect it. If it's not your first rodeo, guess what? It's not your first rodeo. It could be a new rodeo at a new venue, but it's the same thing that you went through before. And I know that you can do it. I know you can, because you showed me the first time. If you're doing podcasts or if you're commenting, Yesterday I binged on Dr. Berg. It was great. He was live from 9 to 10, so I watched that. And then I watched last week's live from 9 to 10 streaming, and because I missed it. So I had 2 full hours of him. And I love the questions. As I've often said before, people ask questions that I hadn't thought I would have questioned, right? And so I learn a lot from what he says. And I love, because he's a chiropractor by trade, that he knows that this is connected to that, and this nutrient could help that, and this ailment means that maybe that other organ on the other side of your body could be what's screaming out for some remedy. It's fascinating to me. And, I try to do it without buying all the expensive remedies. I buy wheatgrass juice powder from Amazon. It's Terrasol. But he said that he's learned some things about his wheatgrass juice powder, and he's going to do a comparison with the other wheatgrass juice powders out there and show how his is blown out of the water. Who knows? Maybe I'll switch. I buy the potassium citrate in the from bulk supplements on Amazon, and I have a 2 teaspoon of that. I have 2 99 milligram potassiums, one at noon and one before bed, with a 400 milligram capsule of magnesium and a probiotic before I go to bed. So I still take a handful of supplements. I still take a lot of fish oil supplements because my body, and your body too, they told me, does not manufacture omega-3s. So they have to come from an external source. So I still take those as well. But I'm wicked happy with my food plan, Today I'm having my fathead pizza tonight, so that always makes me happy. I don't want to have to fat adapt again. I don't want to step out and eat a bunch of carbs that might sound good to me or look good to me. If I'm looking at keto porn sites, even as something as simple as something that a high school cafeteria would serve you, I'm in a danger zone. The fathead pizza has been my savior through all of my keto and fat adaptation because it's the one thing that I allow that has almond flour. I don't do keto-fied other things. That's the only keto floured item that I have, and it's almond flour. And so it keeps me sane. It keeps me feeling like I'm not FOMO, fear of missing out. Ooh, I haven't done a FOMO podcast in a long time. Well, that season's coming up, the FOMO season, and it happens from Halloween right past Valentine's Day, right? All the holidays that have something to do with food. And if you've lived in the United States, you are familiar with those food holidays. You thought Hallmark had it made. Well, candy and food manufacturers are right there too, making billions off of us because we get so used to the tradition of a certain item, a certain standard American diet item, that we have to have it. Well, guess what? If you're keto, you don't have to. And I will tell you, after having 2 seasons of winter foods and 2 seasons of summer foods being on my keto food plan, that summer is definitely harder. It was harder for me. There's more items that I miss from summer fare than I do from winter. Winter is right up my alley. Fatty roasts in the crock pot and tons of great vegetables cooked along with them that are low carb, low glycemic, and yeah, I love winter foods. They match my keto lifestyle. I love my butter, my oil, and my bacon fat. So anyway, be careful. If you've stepped out, stepping back in is going to have some hangover parts to it, some adaptations again to it, some sugar and carb withdrawal. Expect these things and plan accordingly. Make your first aid kit for fat adaptation to have plenty of electrolytes, have plenty of extra fat. You can do this. You've done it before. And if you are a card-carrying food addict, it's not like you have an option. You can step out all you want, but you have to step back in eventually. And it might be because your doctor says, and here are your prescriptions, and you can take all of these for the chronic illnesses that the standard American diet has gifted you with. We don't wake up with the problems of like diabetes or cholesterol or heart conditions overnight. It starts with that bite that we might have been given as a kid. It starts with all of those things, and it's year after year after year of continuing the standard American diet, be it in the form of a food restriction plan that's still standard American, or what you were eating before. If you found keto at some point in your life, be grateful. You have no idea how wonderful you can feel and how wonderful your body will feel, and thank you. But it's not overnight. It's a way of eating. It's a lifestyle. And I'm glad I'm here, and I'm glad you're here. Thanks so much for watching. This has been Sarah, Pearls of Wisdom and Food, living the keto lifestyle. Bye-bye for now.